Hey YouTube, this is Jaden coming at you from Team Shadow Strike. I did a video ranting about video games, and I was going to wait to do this video until it got a certain amount of views or whatever, but I decided to go ahead and do it because I thought it would be something that'd be really cool just to see and maybe get a conversation going. And that is, in this video, I'm going to be bringing you my top 10 favorite video games of all time. And this thought actually took me a while because I'm 22 years old, so I've been playing video games since I was like 4. I remember being 3, 4 years old playing Duck Hunt. So I've been playing video games for a long time, so it took me a while to actually sit down and think of all the games that I've played. I have one honorable mention, and that is Super Mario World for the original Super Nintendo. That was the one that didn't make the cut. That was the first actual video game that I can remember off the top of my head that I actually beat, that I actually got through, according to my memory. It might be something else, but I believe that's it. I know Link to the Past might also be that for Zelda. That actually, sorry to all Zelda fans, is the only Zelda game I ever enjoyed playing. I know Ocarina of Time is extremely popular, but it was either Super Mario World or Link to the Past was the first game I actually ever beat. So Super Mario World was the number 11 spot. So anyway, number 10 is something that's probably not going to surprise anybody who's heard me do videos before, and that's just Pokemon games in general. I've been with Pokemon since this, and I'm stuck around to this point. This would be a Pokemon X or Y case, but I don't have a 3DS yet, and I don't have X or Y yet, which is really sad, but I am planning on getting one soon. I've been with Pokemon since then. I remember playing this game when it first came out. I remember buying this the day it came out. I got my grandmother to buy it for me, and I remember playing it literally, I think, for like 3 days nonstop. I mean, Pokemon was my first major addiction as a little kid. So, that's number 10. Nothing more really to say about that. Number 9, Goldeneye for the N64. I still play this, and I kept my N64, but the problem was a lot of my games crapped out, and I had to rebuy a lot of these. Goldeneye was my very first-person shooter. As it seems like from my generation, it was a lot of people from my generation's first shooter, and it's still one of my favorites, and it's also one of my favorite movies of all time too. I'm thinking I might do a lot more top 10s just because I think it's cool to just kind of see how many top 10s is, compared to a lot of people and see how they match up. So I might do movies too, but this is easily one of my top 10 favorite games and movies. That's kind of cool. Number 8 is Kingdom Hearts 2 for the PlayStation 2. I love the Kingdom Hearts series. Kingdom Hearts 1 I rented it at a movie place here in town one day after it came out when me and my mom went to go get movies, and I asked her if I could rent it. She rented it for me, and I fell in love with the game, beat it, and when the second one came out, I had high hopes, and I was right too. This game knocked it out of the ballpark. I thought it's still one of my favorite games to this day. I've probably played this disc so much that it's probably won't even work anymore. But I'm one of those people that I've been waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3 to come out for ever. So hopefully Kingdom Hearts 3 knocks this one out of the ballpark. I expect it to. Number 7, Need for Speed Most Wanted for the PlayStation 2. For the PlayStation 2. When Need for Speed Most Wanted came out for the PlayStation 3, I thought it would be an HD remake of this with a better storyline, maybe a longer storyline or something like that. And it turned out to be the exact opposite. It was a piece of fucking shit. Thanks a lot, EA. You failed there. This was better than the newer Need for Speed Most Wanted. This is easily the most played Need for Speed game by me. I have played this game so many times. As a matter of fact, I'm replaying it right now. I have gotten more mad at this game than any other game, just because this was, I think, the first major racing game I started playing, at least the series Need for Speed Most Wanted, or the Need for Speed series. But I really wish this would get a PlayStation 3 remake or another version for the PlayStation 3 or just a Need for Speed game for the PlayStation 3 that was, good. Number 6. Sorry, guys, I have the list here on my phone. Number 6. Mafia II for the PlayStation 3. If you watch my video, you learned how I got this. It was just right after my knee operation, and I hobbled myself to my car, drove to Vintage Stock, and bought about 4 or 5 games because I was literally going to be sitting at home for God knows how long, and I needed something to do, so I had bought myself some games. Bought myself some games. What am I, Irish? Actually, I am. But anyway, and speaking of Irish people, a Mafia game, you know. I I don't know what drew me to this game, except I just looked at it and went, Mafia 2. I heard Mafia 1 sucked. Maybe this one will be better. But, you know, I still have the price tag on there, $24.99, so $25, and for $25, I got one of my top 10 favorite video games of all time. I've read all the different critics about it. Yeah, it's a knockoff of Grand Theft Auto, blah, 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 blah. But I love this game. Yeah, you gotta get past all the fucks and the shits and the cocksuckers and all the language and all the drug use, but it's actually a really good story, and I really do like the game. There's supposedly another Mafia 3 coming out, later next year. I hope so, because this one was easily one of my favorite games. Number 5, Mario 64 I almost said for the PlayStation, for the Nintendo 64. This game, guys, is easily one of the best games ever made. If you are a video game fan like I am, and you were going to make just a top 10 video game of all time, not that was your personal, but just how important it was to the video game world that it was created, this would have to be at least in the top 5 for so many reasons, guys. You know how the crappy camera in this one where you could zoom in and look around? This was the game that introduced that introduced player view cameras. So for, you know, I have played this game so many times. I've competed in speedrun tournaments. I've played it to see. I've actually timed myself to see how long it took me to beat the game. You know, like I used to have this big timer. I would just start when I started playing it and freeze it and write down the time, and then I would just keep adding it up to see how long it took me to beat this game. It is one of my favorite games of all time. I'll never get tired of playing this game. This is easily one of the best games ever made. Number 4. The NBA games. Now, you may not agree with this if you're not a sports fan. So if you're not a sports fan, don't start jumping down my throat because you don't play them. These are just my personal favorites. I am a huge basketball fan. I'm a huge sports fan. Normally you see me wearing my Miami Heat championship hat, but it is being washed. So, you know, I can't really say NBA 2K12, 2K11, 2K10, 2K13. I just love the 2K NBA games in general, like the Pokemon. It's just as a series, because this is not really a game. It's not like a series of games. It's just a developing continuance game. Number 3. The Madden games. I am also a humongous football fan. I used to play football, you know. I was a very good football player. And I love the Madden games. Madden every year gets better and better and better. And like I said in that previous video, I think this year's Madden 25, why they went from Madden 14 to 25, I still don't get. I understand it's the 25th year anniversary of Madden, but they could have just put Madden 14, 25th anniversary, was a lot better than the new NBA 2K14, you know. And that, you know, guys, that's really hard for me to admit considering my favorite player is on the cover of NBA 2K14. Number 2, Final Fantasy X. Guys, I love the Final Fantasy series. I have come to the conclusion that, you know, it seems like as crazy as people are about Zelda from my era, I'm that crazy about Final Fantasy. I have played, and you can quote me on this, I have played and beaten every Final Fantasy game that there has been up to date. There's not a lot of people that can say that. I actually have spent the money to get all the systems, all the games, and hunt them down, because there are a couple of them that are kind of hard to find, and beat them. And some of them, I hated the storyline, I hated the gameplay, I thought it was boring as shit, but I kept playing it to not end my streak. And the last few that they've come out with, The last three I have not been fans of, and I had to struggle at points to get through it, but I'm like, no, I'm not gonna stop here. But this by far is in my opinion, the second best Final Fantasy game they've ever made. Guys, I was 10 years old when I played this for the first time, 10 or 11 years old, and the ending will make anybody cry. I play this to this day, and it almost makes me start to cry. Yeah, it's that good. It is a beautiful story. It's to sum it up, it's a love story in an action movie is the best way I can put it. But it is amazing, guys. There are people on YouTube that have just taken all the cutscenes and slammed them together, and it's pretty much a movie. And I'll watch that just from time to time, just because it is so damn good. So if you don't want to play the game, but you want to kind of see the storyline, go on YouTube and just watch the cutscenes from Final Fantasy X. It is by far just one of the best games that Square Enix has pushed out, and I love it, and I still play it to this day. And my number one game of all time, guys, I actually don't have an actual thing here because I can't actually find my actual copy of it because I've also downloaded off the PSN network. It is Final Fantasy VII for the PlayStation 1. Guys, this is regarded by some people as literally the best game ever made. I mean, because this game right here, it started the RPGs. You can thank Square Enix, or as it was called, Squaresoft. You can thank them for creating, RPGs. They were the innovators. That game created it because it was the first Final Fantasy. It was the first major game that came out that gave you options of what to do. Now, there are parts in the game where someone will ask you something, like you'll go in a bar and the bartender will say, "Can I get you something?" You can tell them to go screw themselves, that you'll take something hard, or that you don't want anything. Yeah, it's not really going to matter what you pick because the storyline's just going to keep going down the way it normally will. But it was the point that it gave you an option. It was something new for the gaming world. This game introduced so many things. I could make a video just about what Final Fantasy VII brought to the gaming world as a whole. And, it's the best storyline, and it's the best storyline out of any Final Fantasy. And if you're a Final Fantasy fan like I am, then you can probably agree with me that the Final Fantasy VII game is by far the best one they've ever made. And the reason that they still haven't given us a game continuance of it or another remake of it is because they're trying to make something that's better than it, but they can't because players like me are still saying, give us the HD remake. I have found things on YouTube and just online that confirm that we are getting a PlayStation HD remake of Final Fantasy VII, and I hope that's true. But the reason that they waited so long, or that they still haven't, and all the things I've read are false, is because they wanted to create something better because they're tired of hearing, give us more FX7, give us more. We want more of Cloud Strife's story. It is amazing. So, hopefully we get it. At least I'm holding out for it because I can't wait to see what they do, because you got to keep in mind, guys, this was made on PlayStation 1. The graphics for the time were good, but they were really shitty compared to nowadays. So, hopefully we get one, and that's my top 10 lists of all time. I want to explain something because there's a lot of people who are probably going to say, why didn't you put Halo? Why didn't you put Call of Duty? Halo games I like, I'm just not a big fan of. Call of Duty games I do not play because I feel that they're an insult to anyone else who had to go fight in a war and risk their life for their country, and that I think it's an insult to them that we make a game out of something like that and turn it into entertainment. That is my personal opinion. I'm not judging you if you decide to play them, and I'm not going to get into the debate with you that you're going to try and sway my mind. I've gotten into screaming debates with it over people like that, but that's the reason those games are not on the list, in case you're wondering. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe, thumbs up this video for me in the comment section below. If you would like to, please give me your personal top 10 list of video games of all time. And if you can't think of 10, just give me some, or tell me which ones that in my list you agree with, or the ones that you like as well. Or give me a couple of your games that wasn't in my list but would be in your list, and who knows, maybe I've played them and I will reply to your comments. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and happy gaming in the future, guys.